Hello, YouTube, friends, family, viewers, and subscribers. Welcome back to Rebirth. This evening, we're going to talk about something that has been hot and popping out here in the community. And a lot of our neighboring healthcare professionals are discussing the same topic, whether it's at the doctor's office, whether it's in the break rooms, whether they're talking about it over the phone or what have you, but this is a hot topic. And the topic for today is I have some true facts about e-cigarettes and vapors. And we're going to discuss this right here, right now on Rebirth. So, first of all, I would like to say I thank y'all for the love that you've been giving me lately. I mean, it's just wonderful. And I will always come back with more topics and more things that, we're going to cover. And we're going to continue to cover healthcare. We're going to continue to talk about things that can motivate the spirit, motivate your soul, get you going. And, we're just going to keep it coming. So, with no further ado, we're going to start right here, right now. I want to first of all talk about some acronyms I normally be throwing out there, and I don't want to just confuse people, but you can either look up behind me or just, check behind me and just say, okay, let me find out what he's talking about. I'm going to break down some of them before I get started. And let's start with the NCBI. If I ever say NCBI, I'm talking about the National Center for Biotechnology Information. Now, this is a part of the United States National Library of Medicine and a branch of the National Institute of Health. So this is one of my places I get data from that I look up so that I can show numbers sometime, bring you up to date with issues. This is where I get it from. Another one is the CDC, and we all hear about this a lot. It's called the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, and this is a United States federal agency under the Department of Health and Human Services, and it is the leading national public health institute in the United States. So just giving you some heads up on how I get my data, put it together, bring it out to you so you get factual information. Another one I have for you is the NHSN, and this is from the CDC as well, but it's the National Health and Safety Network, and this is the nation's most widely used health associated for infection tracking systems. It provides facilities, states, regions, and the nation with data needed to identify problem areas, it will measure progress for prevention efforts, and ultimately eliminate healthcare associated infections. This is something that I want to put out there for you so that you can understand that I'm not just up here talking about anything that I'm just thinking about. I'm actually going out doing research and bringing you data that has been researched by top agencies, and we're trying to get what's new and what's fresh out on the information system. Okay, now let's move on. It is reported, and I found this little note. It is reported that when you're talking about e-cigarettes and you're talking about vaping, back in the early 1960s, Herbert A. Gilbert was credited with the creation of the first device, and that's that little aerosol vial look like thing where people be smoking out of. They say he was the first one. They credit him with that to make something closer to resemble the modern day e-cigarette. There's also talk about another man that has a patent for one, but they had never seen the device. So just throwing that out there, that's a little on information. Those of you that like to look up things, go for it. See what you can find out. All right, moving along. Since 2017, physicians all over has been dealing with the same question from their patients. A lot of their patients have been coming up to them and saying, how safe are e-cigarettes and vaping? And to their knowledge, based on evidence. See, a lot of times if they say something like, well, at the moment we don't have enough evidence to support, and it's not saying that they don't know, it's just that they want to give you evidence-based information so that you won't take it as if they're just throwing this off the top of their head. And so remember that. There are a lot of research being done, but just recently they've really been diving into it because they're finding out some things that I'm going to mention later in this video about an outbreak of hospitalization and death due to e-cigarettes and vaping. Stay tuned. Moving right along. E-cigarettes, formerly known as electronic nicotine delivery system. This is what they call it. Now, it came out of nowhere. All of a sudden, you're seeing an abundance of use of it. And that's what I mean by it came out of nowhere. People have been doing it, but not in every area of the United States. And when it do pop up, it's like it's just something that just sprung out of nowhere. Remember that they were showing up everywhere, like gas station, convenience stores, almost anywhere you find a regular tobacco cigarette, now you will find an e-cigarette or vaping devices. Almost anywhere that you can sell it, they got it. Now we know that this is a different type of system that delivers nicotine into the body and into the lungs. However, the main question still exists. Is this nicotine delivery system safer than its predecessor that uses paper filtered with tobacco and give off smoke? Various marketing schemes has been going out now where you see these little clips showing somebody vaping, showing someone maybe, using an e-cigarette. This is a marketing scheme to sell. So they're claiming that the e-cigarette is better as far as health benefit goes than the regular tobacco cigarette. And in some cases it is, when you look at tobacco versus a e-liquid vapor. But here's some things you have to take notice of. You have to take notice of the chemicals that they put inside of that vaping system to be vaporized in order to get that sensation that you're looking for. So now they're also adding flavors where some people, I want strawberry today. So they'll go and get a strawberry one. But you got to understand there are other chemicals that are placed inside this thing. However, environmental scientists, after looking for evidence, they have found very little to prove that this will help tobacco smokers to curb their appetite for the nicotine or even quit altogether. So there's no proof that this thing will just take you away from it. And see, a lot of times we do things out of something being new to us. And so we'll just jump on it and then we'll go. But that doesn't mean it actually helped you to walk away from one thing to go to another. All right? So what do you believe? That'll be my question. What do you believe? Let's talk about problems associated with the nicotine itself. When we talk about problems, we're talking about the nicotine and what it does to the body. Nicotine will act as a conductor, and it causes several health hazards. There is an increased risk of cardiovascular, respiratory, gastrointestinal disorders that is associated with cigarettes, e-vaping, and e-cigarettes. Remember that. It can also cause a decrease in your immune system response, and it also have a negative impact on your body's reproductive system. This is what we're doing to our bodies. When we're talking about, oh, I'm going to get me an e-cigarette and I'm going to vape, and you think that it's okay because you don't have the tobacco in it. There are other problems, there are other risks. Now, we also learned that it can cause an effect in the cell and DEA mutation, which can cause cancer later. So if you got anything that you're taking in your body and it can potentially lead to cancer, you need to think twice before you use it. You need to be careful of what are you doing to your body every time you take it in. It can cause resistance to chemotherapy and radiation therapy, radiotherapy agents that works to help take away or diminish the cancer agents in the body. Now, nicotine is also highly addictive. It is toxic and it hurts the developing fetus in a mother's womb. Nicotine can harm adolescent brain development, which continues on up to their 20s and maybe mid-20s. Who knows? You're constantly using and taking in this stuff, goes right into your bloodstream. It goes right into your central nervous system. And it affects the brain. So we need to think about it. Nicotine is a health danger for pregnant women. So when you're thinking that, well, I'm going to start e-cigarettes because I don't want to smoke while I'm pregnant, well, then you're not helping yourself just going to e-cigarettes or vaping. If you're pregnant, please do not do them at all. Tobacco, cigarettes, e-cigarettes, or vaping, stay away from it all when you're pregnant. You want a healthy child. So let's focus on health conscience, healthy children being born in the U.S. Let's focus on that. Let's talk about the chemicals that you find in this. Now, people that use e-cigarettes will inhale what they call a harmless water vapor. But just because they say it's water doesn't mean it's pure, because they add chemicals to it. This also contains volatile organic compounds that's harmful and some potentially harmful substances, including the nicotine that you find in it. Various chemical lead and metal products, or materials, if you will, and various cancer-causing agents. According to the NIH, National Institute of Health, the nicotine in liquids, in the e-liquid they call it, the nicotine in the e-liquid, once absorbed in the body, goes into the lungs and into the bloodstream. When a person vapes or using e-cigarette, upon entering the bloodstream, the nicotine will stimulate the adrenal glands. Then from there it releases adrenaline hormones, epinephrine. Epinephrine stimulates the central nervous system and increase blood pressure, breathing, and heart rate. Nicotine activates the brain reward circuit and also increases the level of a chemical messenger in the brain called dopamine, which reinforces rewarding behavior. This type of pleasure will cause, by the nicotine, it will cause a different reaction in your brain to reward yourself, making you want to go back to that nicotine again. You want that taste again. You want that rewarding feeling. It makes you go back to it again. That's why a lot of people, I got to go get me a cigarette. They quick to run and get a cigarette because it rewards. It's a rewarding feeling. It's almost like in the brain, it sends a message saying, this is what I needed, and thank you, I got what I needed, and you get that rewarding feeling. Now I'm going to move on to some statistics based from the CDC. Get this from the CDC. And it states that in 2018, more than 3.6 million U.S. middle school and high school students used e-cigarettes. That's a large number. It was also reported that an estimated 1.78 million students in grades 6 to 12 had tried the device, according to the Center for Disease and Control Prevention. These are large numbers that we're saying our children are using it as an activity, almost like a drug. And they're using it for activity, just to hang around, look cool, smoking, blowing out their little smoke, and they vaping, they think that's cool, but they're harming their bodies tremendously. As of January the 21st, 2020, a total of 2,711 were hospitalized due to e-cigarette or vaping products used associated with lung injury. These cases or death have been reported to the CDC from all 50 states, the District of Columbia, and 2 U.S. territories. This was an outbreak that happened last year. And it probably been something that was occurring for a while and just never got caught up until the hospitalization, to the large numbers of people coming in the hospital, and then they found out it was associated with vaping and e-cigarettes. But that was January. That was just January the 21st this year. The outbreak of the lung injury associated with the use of e-cigarettes and vaping products also, as of February the 4th this month, the total went up to 2,758 hospitalized. 64 deaths has been confirmed in 28 states and the District of Columbia associated with e-cigarettes and vaping. My friends, my family, my YouTube subscribers, this is something that you need to share with your family or friends. Not to preach to anybody, but what you need to do is let them know that there's a potential danger that we have dealing with these new products. And if we do not take control of our health lives and live, something deadly would take control of our health lives, and we will die. Hate to put it that way, but that's the truth. Only you can take care of you. So let's start sharing this information. And remember, if you never used or smoked a tobacco product, please don't start e-cigarettes or vaping. That's even worse on someone that has never taken in that tobacco product, and then you're going straight to e-cigarettes or vaping. This information that I'm giving you comes from those acronyms that I gave you earlier: the CDC, the NIH, and others. You have all the right in the world to do research behind me. And listen, take care of yourself. Take care of your family. Do the best for you and your body and your body will treat you right. This is Robbie coming from Rebirth. I thank you all, and I'll see you later.